You've probably been told at some point that losing strength in your legs is just a natural part of getting older, that it's inevitable, that after a certain age your muscles begin to weaken, your balance declines, and your mobility slowly fades no matter what you do. But what if that belief is not only incomplete but fundamentally wrong? What if the real reason your legs are getting weaker has far less to do with age itself and far more to do with what your body is consistently missing? Because there's something most people overlook. There are individuals in their 70s, 80s, even 90s, who still walk with confidence, climb stairs without holding the rail, and maintain strong, stable legs well into advanced age. This isn't luck. It isn't rare genetics. And it's not a mystery. There is a pattern behind it, one that shows up again and again, and it revolves around something surprisingly simple: what they eat every single day. To understand this, you need to look at what's actually happening inside your body over time. Your muscles are not just sitting there passively. They are constantly going through a process known as protein turnover, where muscle tissue is continuously broken down and rebuilt. When you're younger, this system works efficiently. Your body rebuilds muscle quickly and responds strongly to the nutrients you consume. But after 60, something changes. Your body becomes what researchers call anabolically resistant. That means even when you consume protein and other nutrients, your muscles don't respond as effectively. The same meal that once stimulated growth now produces a much weaker effect. At the same time, your body produces less of a key hormone called IGF-1, which plays a central role in signaling muscle repair and growth. When this signal weakens, your muscles don't rebuild with the same strength or speed as before. Layered on top of that is a less visible, but equally important factor: chronic low-grade inflammation. Often referred to as inflammaging, this process quietly interferes with nearly every system involved in muscle health. It disrupts communication between nerves and muscles, reduces circulation, and accelerates the breakdown of muscle tissue. Over time, this creates an internal environment where muscle loss becomes easier and muscle gain becomes harder. Here's the critical part most people miss. By the time you begin to feel noticeable weakness in your legs, when standing up feels harder, when walking longer distances becomes tiring, when your balance feels slightly off, you've already lost a meaningful portion of your functional muscle mass. This decline doesn't happen overnight. It happens gradually, silently, and often without immediate warning. But despite how this sounds, there is something extremely important to understand. This process is not irreversible. The body does not lose its ability to rebuild muscle with age. What changes is how it responds to input. It becomes more selective. It requires better quality nutrients, more consistent intake, and more precise support to trigger the same rebuilding processes that once happened easily. And this is where nutrition becomes the central factor. Not in a vague sense of eating healthy, but in a very specific, targeted way, because certain nutrients directly influence the exact mechanisms that are slowing down in your body. Some improve blood flow, ensuring your leg muscles receive oxygen and energy efficiently. Others provide highly bioavailable protein that your body can actually use, despite anabolic resistance. Some reduce inflammation, protecting your muscle tissue from ongoing damage. And others help reactivate the internal signals that tell your body to rebuild. When these elements are missing, your muscles are essentially undersupplied. Even if you're eating regularly, your body may not be receiving what it specifically needs to maintain strength. This creates a nutritional gap, one that many people never identify. And over time, that gap leads directly to the weakness people mistakenly attribute only to aging. Think of it this way: your body still wants to maintain strength. It still has the capacity to repair, rebuild, and adapt, but it needs the right conditions to do so. When those conditions are not met, decline feels inevitable. When they are met consistently, improvement becomes possible again, even later in life. This is why small, consistent dietary changes can produce surprisingly noticeable results. Not overnight, and not magically, but steadily. More stability when you walk, less fatigue in your legs, greater confidence in everyday movements. These changes don't come from a single intervention, but from repeated daily inputs that gradually shift how your body functions. What makes this approach powerful is not complexity, but precision. It's not about eating more. It's about eating what your muscles actually need now, at this stage of life. Because the difference between decline and recovery often comes down to something much simpler than most people expect: whether or not your body is being given the exact tools it requires to maintain itself. And once you begin to understand that, you stop seeing muscle loss as something unavoidable and start seeing it as something that can be actively influenced, supported, and in many cases reversed. Once you understand that muscle loss is not simply a result of age, but a response to missing inputs, the next step becomes very clear. You need to supply your body with nutrients that directly target the systems involved in strength, stability, and repair. And this is where specific foods begin to matter. Not randomly, but strategically. Some foods improve circulation, ensuring your leg muscles receive oxygen and nutrients efficiently. Others provide high-quality protein that your body can actually use despite anabolic resistance. Some reduce inflammation, protecting muscle tissue from ongoing breakdown. And a few go even further, influencing the cellular mechanisms responsible for rebuilding muscle itself. Let's start with circulation, because without proper blood flow, even the best nutrients cannot reach your muscles effectively. One of the most overlooked foods in this category is beets. They are rich in dietary nitrates, which your body converts into nitric oxide. This compound relaxes and widens blood vessels, improving circulation throughout the body, especially to the extremities like your legs. Better circulation means more oxygen delivery, more efficient muscle contractions, and less fatigue during movement. For someone experiencing early signs of weakness, this alone can create a noticeable difference in endurance and stability. Moving into structural support, protein becomes essential, but not all protein is equal, especially after 6. Your body now requires protein sources that are both complete and highly bioavailable. Eggs stand out in this regard. They contain all essential amino acids in proportions that closely match your body's needs, making them extremely efficient for muscle repair. More importantly, they are rich in leucine, an amino acid that acts as a trigger for muscle protein synthesis. Without enough leucine, the signal to rebuild muscle remains weak, regardless of total protein intake. Another powerful but often underestimated source is Greek yogurt. It provides a substantial amount of protein, particularly casein, which digests slowly and delivers a steady stream of amino acids over several hours. This sustained release is especially valuable during periods when your body would otherwise break down muscle tissue. But Greek yogurt offers something more. It supports gut health through beneficial bacteria. And this matters more than most people realize, because your ability to absorb and utilize protein depends heavily on the condition of your digestive system. A healthier gut means more efficient use of every gram of protein you consume. Then there are foods that directly combat inflammation, one of the main drivers of muscle decline. Fatty fish like salmon play a critical role here. They are rich in omega-3 fatty acids, particularly EPA and DHA, which have been shown to reduce inflammatory markers and slow muscle breakdown. In addition, salmon provides high-quality protein and powerful antioxidants that protect muscle cells at a deeper level, including the mitochondria, the structures responsible for producing energy within your muscles. When these energy systems are protected, your muscles perform more efficiently and fatigue more slowly. Sardines offer similar benefits, often in an even more concentrated form. Along with omega-3s, they provide vitamin D, calcium, and magnesium nutrients that support both muscle contraction and bone integrity. This combination is particularly important for maintaining functional strength, as strong muscles and stable bones work together to support balance and movement. Not all powerful foods for muscle health are protein-based. Spinach, for example, contributes through a different pathway. It is rich in magnesium, potassium, and iron, minerals essential for muscle contraction, nerve signaling, and oxygen transport. It also contains natural compounds that have been linked to improved muscle performance. When these micronutrients are consistently available, your muscles function more efficiently and are less prone to fatigue and cramping. Energy supply is another critical factor that is often misunderstood. Many people reduce carbohydrate intake as they age, believing it to be beneficial. But your muscles, especially those responsible for stability and endurance, depend on a steady supply of glucose. Sweet potatoes provide a slow-digesting source of complex carbohydrates, delivering consistent energy without sharp spikes or crashes in blood sugar. This stable energy supply supports the slow-twitch muscle fibers that keep you balanced, upright, and steady during everyday movements. Then there are foods that support muscle regeneration at a deeper level. Walnuts, for instance, contain compounds that help activate satellite cells, the cells responsible for repairing and rebuilding muscle fibers. These cells become less active with age, but certain nutrients can help stimulate them again. By including foods like walnuts regularly, you are not just maintaining muscle, you are supporting your body's ability to rebuild it. But the impact goes beyond just the slow digestion. Cottage cheese is also rich in leucine, the same amino acid that acts as a trigger for muscle protein synthesis. This means it not only supplies the raw materials but also activates the signal needed to use them effectively. The combination of sustained delivery and strong signaling creates a uniquely favorable condition for muscle maintenance during the most vulnerable hours of the day. Additionally, it provides key micronutrients such as vitamin B12, phosphorus, and selenium, which support nerve function and cellular health. These systems are directly involved in how effectively your muscles contract and respond. Strong muscles are not just about size, they are about communication between your brain and your body. When that connection is supported, movements become more stable, controlled, and reliable. What makes this approach so effective is its simplicity. It doesn't require drastic changes, extreme diets, or complicated routines. Just one consistent habit, providing your body with the right type of protein at the right time, can begin to shift the balance that has been working against you. And when this habit is combined with the other foods discussed earlier, the effect becomes cumulative. High-quality protein during the day supports rebuilding. Anti-inflammatory nutrients protect muscle tissue. Adequate energy keeps muscle fibers functioning properly. And overnight, the slow release of amino acids preserves everything you've built. This is how small, targeted actions begin to compound. In the first few days, the changes may be subtle. Slightly less stiffness in the morning, a bit more ease when standing up. Within a couple of weeks, movements that once felt effortful may start to feel more natural. Over time, the improvements become more noticeable. Better balance, increased confidence, and a renewed sense of control over your own body. It's important to understand that none of this happens through intensity or extremes. It happens through consistency. The body responds to what it receives regularly. When the right nutrients are supplied day after day, the internal environment begins to shift. Systems that were underperforming begin to function more efficiently. Signals that were weak become stronger, and gradually strength returns. There are also a few common mistakes that can quietly undermine this process. One is relying too heavily on supplements while neglecting whole foods. While supplements can be useful in certain cases, they often lack the complex combination of nutrients that work together naturally in food. Another is inconsistency, making changes for a few days and then stopping. Muscle adaptation requires repeated exposure over time. Without that, progress stalls. Perhaps the most important shift, however, is mental. Moving away from the belief that decline is unavoidable and toward the understanding that your body is still responsive. Because once you recognize that your muscles are not simply fading but reacting to what they are, or are not, being given, your role changes. You are no longer a passive observer of aging. You become an active participant in how your body functions. Strong legs in later life are not reserved for a select few. They are often the result of repeated intentional choices, small decisions made consistently over time. And among those decisions, few are as simple and as impactful as giving your body the support it needs during the hours when it would otherwise be losing ground. Your body has not lost its ability to rebuild. It has only been waiting for the right conditions. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss our health and wellness tips. See you in the next video.